Welcome to Eight Questions with. I'm your host, Patrick from Have Cheetah Will View. And yeah, welcome to a wet Wednesday. We have been having rain nonstop since last night. It is raining cats and dogs. Um, so, sheesh. So today's guest, uh, Ieva Lykos, will be here with us momentarily. This is our first interview with anybody from Italy. But I've known Iva for quite a while now. She also did an interview with me for the blog, and I have a lot in common. So much so I can definitely say she's in my tribe. Um, she's a really cool lady, hardworking, very talented, very hardworking. Her and her husband Carlo are a tremendous team. He's a director. She's screenwriting, and she does acting in some of the movies. Um, so very interesting person to talk to because now we'll get an idea of what it's like to make a film in Italy. Different everywhere. That's one thing I have discovered in doing this when I'm talking to other countries is some have a very vibrant film industry and surprises me sometimes about that because it's like you would think, especially with like I said before when I was mentioning our interview with Ashleen Clark, um, you think that film presence, but an actual film making, it's not so much. A lot of these countries they don't have that capability, or they want it. In the case of the Netherlands, it's like backhanded. Um, so it'd be really interesting to talk about her. Talk to Iva about her experience in the Italian film industry, and how's it, how easy has it been to work through the pandemic and whatnot. And yeah, uh, so we're working hard. Um, we are still working hard. This is actually supposed to be a first of two today. I'm supposed to be interviewing another gentleman later on today. I'm not really sure if that's going to work out because I have not heard from him. So I'm not sure if that's going to work out. So, yikes, that happens. Um, but if he does, then we'll be talking to Chris Buckholz tonight at 8 o'clock. And tomorrow night we'll be talking to Christy Adams from Nightmare Toys. Um, who is running a store in Las Vegas and doing very well. If you're into horror and you're looking for collectibles or hard to find items, you definitely want to hear how Christy Adams can find those items for you, and how her store is doing. She just had Tony Todd do a signing at the store last weekend and posted a video up, and it went blockbusters. Really cool. Really happy for her. So we'll be talking to her on the 23rd, and then next Tuesday, we'll be talking to uh, uh, Ariel from Splash with Ariel, her YouTube channel. We'll be talking with her um, about her love of horror films, films in general. Um, what's it like being a film hunter down in Los Angeles? She's got the best luck. I'm telling you, she's got the best hunting luck, I want to find out how she manages to find all the hard to find movies. Um, Next on the 29th, we have film director Candice Carella. This will complete a trilogy this month of interviews. We interviewed Leah McKendrick and Hillary Kerwin, and now we're going to interview Candice Carella, and they were the powers that were behind the short film Unicorns, which that's a really good film, really strong film. And not only that, but Candice is also a costumer by profession. That's where she got her start in the industry, and I'm fascinated by that. I'm looking forward to asking her about it, and because I've never talked to one before. I mean, that's got to be such a labor intensive job. I mean, I've watched interviews with costumers, a wardrobe. It's intense. It's really intense. Those guys work their asses off, really work their asses off. And next we have on the 30th, we have Steve Rensinski closing out the month. He is the director and co-writer of Carousel, the Carousel of Carousel 2, the second. The new Carousel is it's completed. I watched a rough cut of it. I'm not sure if that's the full cut. I know that he gave us screeners to watch, but I'm not really sure if that's what we're supposed to see as far as the final cut goes. I can tell you one thing, that Duke returns in all his glory, and this is a very interesting movie. We're gonna have a lot of questions for Steve on the 30th about how where they decided to take Duke at. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. Hold on one second. So yeah, we're pretty excited again for to talk to Eva. I'm glad you guys are here for this one. We'll get her for about an hour today. Um, because she's also, besides a working actor, she's also a wife and a mother. So um, it's 8 o'clock in Italy right now, so it's sort of late-ish, for that. Um, but we'll be happy to have her on. Okay, what else can I talk about here? Let's see. Yeah, we're going to talk to Eva about her background because she got a really fascinating one too at that. Um, she lives in Italy, but she's actually was born in Romania. Her mother was Romanian Hungarian, um, and her dad was Greek. So she's very exotic, as you can see. Um, it'll be interesting to see what it's like growing up, and we'll be talking to her about that as well. Italy is the only thing I think of. Italy was actually the one place that my wife wanted to take me. Um, that was always the goal for us to take a vacation to. She always wanted to take me to Italy to go see Rome, and yeah, I would have liked to have seen that too. Um, it's beautiful down there, and it's difficult though. We're talking. We'll be talking about that a little bit. It's especially with the pandemic going on or whatnot. Europe seems to be having a little bit of trouble getting their film industry up and running again, as are others. Believe it or not. I've heard from Australia. It's been a little bit hard for them to get up and running because they've had they've had lockdowns. I know that Canada is starting to scuffle around again with doing another lockdown. It's pretty damn hard to work when everything's locked down. Um, so to make art, and we'll be talking about her Eva's new movie, The Final Code, which is based off a true story, and she managed to Carlo. They cast Sally Kirkland and Burt Young. I think this is one of Burt Young's last films. Before he, let me see. Let me see. I don't want to say that because I could be that could be bad luck. yeah, Burt Young from the Rocky films. He came over and okay, yeah, I'm glad I didn't say that because Burt, Burt Young is still kicking it with us. Him from playing Paulie on the Rocky movies, and he plays a cop in the Final Code, and then of course Sally Kirkland, um, very well known actress, has done some really good parts, and she plays a doctor. So it's a nice international flavor to the film. It's not the first time that Carlo and Eva have done this. Or Ieva has done this. They did this with their other movie, a movie that I reviewed called The Slider, which was also a very intense movie. I will say this: I both their movies I've watched have been pretty heavy hitters as far as drama goes. Um, the Slider I reviewed a while ago, and that actually starred Bruce Davison and Daryl Hannah and Tom Sizemore. All three of them had parts in the movie, and yeah, I mean that's pretty good for a independent film, based in Italy. I mean, and to get that kind of heavy hitting cast, I mean, those are those aren't easy casts to get. A lot of more well budgeted movies are not as cast as well as that. And yes, Tom Sizemore is actually pretty decent in The Slider. Uh, it was nominated for several awards. It won an award. Um, Iva herself is an award-winning artist. She's won several, um, including being a finalist for the ADIFF film. Okay, I don't know what the ADI means for, but Actors Directors International Film Festival. She is a finalist for her role in as Sharon in The Final Code. Oh, it's Sharon. I might have mistake that. I get that confused. Sorry about that. Yeah, there's a young actress. She's dead on time.
Hello.
Speeding. Hello,
Hello.
hello. uh, how are you today?
Oh, I'm fine. A little bit tired, but I'm fine. Thank you for the invitation. You're the first one that took me an interview, a written one, and now you're the first one which interviews me online. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Um, so I was doing the little just talking a little bit about you and your career with some of the roles you played. It's very impressive actually. Like I was just mentioning how I watched and reviewed The Slider, and how impressive it is that you and Carlo were able to go out and get such an international cast for your projects. I've seen, like I mentioned, that I've seen movies with a much bigger budget not able to get the cast that you were able to get. Um, it's a really strong cast, and both the Final Code, because he has Sally Kirkland and he had
Yeah.
Burt Young. Very respected actors, character actors, and of course, then you had Tom Sizemore and Daryl Hannah and Bruce Davison in The Slider, and that's just like it's impressive. And congratulations to you both because it really helps both movies. It's gives a nice international flavor to it.
it helps selling a lot.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know that helps too, but but still, it isn't just simply that. I mean, you got to have a good script. You got to have good, a good shooting, good shooting locations. I mean, honestly, I don't see how hard it would be to get more people to come over when all you need to do is sit there and say, "Well, we're filming in Italy." I mean, to me, it's like I don't see why more actors aren't, like, oh, I'm so there, you know. Um, you know, I just want lasagna, and I want some cannolis. I mean, uh, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit. I want to swing back around with you and talk a little bit about your start. Where did you like, where were you born at? I mean, I mentioned it earlier, but I mentioned it where you were initially born at. But I want to know, what was it like growing up as in your house, as a young girl.
Well, first of all, I want to say hello to our viewers and future viewers because I didn't understand that I will be immediately online. I
Oh,
thought that we'll have it. Okay, so I say hello to everyone. Thanks for watching. So there were more questions in one question. I want to specify that Tom Sizemore, Daryl Hannah, and Bruce Davidson were being part of the cast, The Slider, and it was shot in Romania, so not in Italy. No lasagna.
uh, was it all? I thought the interiors were shot in Romania.
No, nothing. Everything in Romania, at the countryside, and it was wonderful because that one was my first top level movie. Let's just say that, and I couldn't believe it because I lived in at that time I lived in Italy, and I have Romanian origins. I am born in Romania, and I have been called by an Italian director, which lived in Romania. So we were like. Um, we were having some diverted roles, and he called me for this main role, female main role, and he told me about this movie, about this cast, and I accepted. And first of all, I thought it's a joke because it was it was shooted in the countryside, so I couldn't believe that. So Tom Sizemore there, I they don't even have toilets, something like this, but everything was was well organized, and everything went very, very well. And as you can see, the slider has been, and it's is distributed all world with Sony Pictures and E1 from Canada. Isn't that right? So
Right? Yeah.
for me it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe myself that I lived. It was like 10 years that I was living in Italy, and I couldn't believe myself to turn back in Romania on the countryside and shoot a movie with such big stars. Bruce Davison, Oscar
Oh, yeah.
nominated.
No, it was like, when I watched the movie, and we started talking about it, and before our first interview, like I said, and you're right, I'm looking at it now, and I brain tooted. It was all shot in Romania, but
Yeah.
it looks really good though. It looks it's so pretty too. As far as the film looks. I mean, I know it's a gritty film. It's a heavy hitting drama, but the locations and it's really a nice movie, a nice looking movie. And
Yeah.
it's actually being I've actually seen, I mean, because of our I mean, this is my sound sort of weird, but because that in America we don't longer have video stores as much as we used to, and we don't sell movies in the stores like we used to.
Yeah.
A lot of the movies that were on sale, they get moved to different stores, and the slider has gone to a store call Dollar Tree. And what that means is that a lot of people now can buy this movie, um, and discover it, which is really important. It's really important that they discover it, but now they can discover it. Now it's easily accessible to people, to add to their film collections and whatnot. But and it's sort of cool, because it's like I look at it and I see it in the bins, and I'm going like, wow, this people are buying it. I watch people buy it, and then if they're standing next to me, I say, you need to buy this movie, and I'll give the movie to them. I say, you need to buy this because it's a really good movie. And
I always buy movies.
oh, me too,
Yeah,
me too.
I never watch cracked movies because I'm so sorry for the artists and everyone that looked watched the movie and worked for the movie, and I'm very sorry. So this is why I always buy movies.
Yes, me too. I don't like digital. I don't like it myself. I don't like it. I think it's it's, for one thing, the artists don't, the artists, they get short shifted on that, because they don't make as much money as they normally would. Um, Two, something can easily happen, like you lose power, or there's an upgrade, or a number of things, and you could actually lose your library. Um, I had
Yeah.
I had an iPad, an iPod. I had an iPod and an iPad. Both of them were rendered obsolete because Apple decided they weren't gonna support them anymore. So they
Oh.
said, yes, not a good thing. You got done spending like hundreds of dollars, and you expect them to be able to support it, and they don't. So, so you mentioned going back. Now, how old were you? How long did you live in Romania before you moved to Italy?
21 years in Romania. I have also Greek and Hungarian origins. I'm born in Romania, but my paternal origins are from Kefalonia. And I have lived in Romania for 21 years, and then I moved in Italy and I start acting in the theater. I also have to apologize with the viewers for my my English in Italy. You will surely worsen your English if you're coming here because you don't have people to talk to. So my only English is when I'm talking for work, just some or I have to speak with you and or I have to act, but acting is different because you study it, you prepare yourself for that. And
Sure.
I'm sure that I have so many mistakes, but I believe that I am being pardoned.
No, you sound
And
perfectly fine. The Mr. Bones is even saying your English sounds great. It sounds great to me.
yeah, I don't know. It's not as it was, when before I got in Italy, it was much better. Italian language destroys your English.
Uh, Now, how many languages do you speak, Eva?
Four languages.
Wow, I'm doing good just to mangle one.
Yeah, it's not easy because it depends on, when you start talking a language, you you start having that accent. Even when I'm talking when I'm speaking in Romanian language, I have the Italian accent. So it's like this. I think that if I lived in America, I would have that accent, and you never understand
Oh,
anything with these
oh,
languages.
I can
The
rest
worst,
assured.
the worst is when we're shooting, because we usually have the um, the technical crew, which is Italian. Some some other staff members are from Romania, and when American actors come, so I have, I don't understand anything because I have to. I don't know what language should I speak with you, because sometimes maybe I speak Italian with an American actor.
Oh, okay.
I get confused.
Uh,
It's
we already got some questions. I like this. I love this already. Our
yeah.
friend Rick wants to know what your favorite food is.
Oh,
That's a really good question because I like to know
I
that myself.
I I really I really like eating, and it's so difficult to answer this question because I like to cook and eat, and I appreciate so many things in every type of food I eat, but maybe I have never asked myself which is my favorite food, because I love all types of food. Maybe one of the best is lasagna, but well prepared, because I have eaten some lasagnas in the restaurants and they're not the way I cooked them.
Oh man, you just mentioned lasagna. That is actually my favorite dish. I grew up. That was my favorite dish in the whole wide world. Uh, uh,
Yeah,
yeah, that was the yeah, and not only that, but you cook it. I mean, that takes skills. Um,
yeah, I
now,
cook it too, and it's
now
very, very tasty.
I have a question for you because this happened on another project, another independent film crew. And I said, "What's the hook? Why do people come and want to do your movies?" And they said, "Well, part of the reason is because the director's wife, she cooks a home cooked meal, once during the shoot." And so my question is, have you ever cooked for your crew during a movie?
No, never, never. I never cooked because we are organized with catering or restaurants, and so I never cooked for them, and I don't have time because usually I have difficult parts, in the movies, and I don't. I finish shooting and I go back to my room and start studying for the day after, and I have to care about. Sometimes I have to care about production stuff,
Yeah,
because
I
we
should
are
have.
also
I
we
should
are
have.
also producing. So
I should have mentioned lowered that down to, did you ever cook for like Bruce Davison or Daryl Hannah, or your castmates? Because I've heard people have done
No, but I have drunken with Michael Madsen some white wine
that.
on
Yeah,
the hotel's corridor.
that boy can drink, can't he? Uh,
Yeah, he quit. He's not like I used to read in the papers, not anymore. But yes, and it's not a new thing, for people who work in
um,
cinema. We usually drink, and I don't drink anymore.
yeah, yeah, it's a pretty well known thing. I mean, it's a hard life. It's a lot of it's not easy. Um, so now, did you start acting in Romania? Is that where you started becoming, and is that where you started studying to become an actress? Did you do live
Yes, but
work?
it was for an Italian production. Yeah, I
Oh,
started. No, I worked in Italy too, but mainly in the theater. And but I was talking about this high level castings, because you mentioned that It was in Romania, and the production was a co-production between Italy and Romania. Yes,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean that must have been, what was it like to work with them? I mean, with you know, how confident were you in your own ability when you were
I was.
acting?
No, I thought that I will not ever make it. Because I was, I'm a perfectionist, so I never say that I'm okay. I never say that I'm okay, and I'm always afraid about the fact that I will not make it. And it was like, okay, concentration. Anyway, you immediately see that is a very high level. You're forced to act better. Because
Uh,
they really have, this. It's like they don't act, they transform themselves, and they put their mind and their heart in the scene, and it's so natural. It's so natural, and I have learned a lot about that from American actors. And the thing that I have learned more was, being simple and humble, which is a thing that you don't see in Europe. Because in Europe, you have an actor that has been part of a short movie, and boom, he or she thinks it's famous, it's important. They start being arrogant, and but Americans are not like this. I have eaten soups with Bruce Davison on the floor in that house where we're shooting, and I could not believe it. It's very American, this thing. I couldn't, I didn't see this thing in Italy, in Romania neither. I couldn't see it. Only Americans do that, and this is my best example. I'm just like this.
we have another
And
question.
how was Tom Sizemore? Very fun to be with, and Daryl too. I thought Daryl was much superior, because she has that diva look, and she's not like that at all. Bruce just really, really funny. He always sings on the set. Before shooting, he sings. He sings a lot.
That must make it a lot easier. It puts you at comfort. I mean, as a new actor, I mean, you really got to. The pressure must be really intense because you're trying to act against these veterans with these veterans at the same time. You're you don't want to make a mistake. You put a lot more added pressure on yourself, and sometimes I can understand that. And I think it helps that a lot of actors, a lot of your peers, because that's how they would look at you. They don't look at themselves as better. They see you as a peer. You're an equal. You're here. If there's a reason why you're standing in front of them and nobody else is, and that is because you are
Yes,
a good actor.
yes,
Um,
yes. For s- sometimes it's interrupted. Sometimes I
um,
Hello?
no, yeah, yeah, we're here. We're here. Um, so,
Okay, okay.
yeah, Um, someone asked one question real quick. Who has been your favorite? Yeah. Actually, I think we just covered that. So we'll just
My favorite actor,
actors. Yeah. I mean,
which whom I've worked with,
yeah. Who's been your favorite?
Michael Madsen.
Michael Madsen. Okay.
Yes, because I have seen so much respect during acting. I had a very tough scene in which I had to cry a lot to be desperate and almost committing suicide. And he really understood the way I felt, and it was a rumor from the technical staff. And he just like, he's not yelling, but he said, "Okay, guys, can you please shut up? Because here there's a person that really works. you
Oh
don't
wow.
have any, you don't have any idea what she's feeling now." He said like this, and I really loved him for that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that would be. See, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. They don't see, they don't see you as a new actor. They don't see you as all they see is you as a peer. I mean, as far as Michael Madsen is concerned, Iva Lykos is just as good as he is, and that's how he's treating you. And I think I think he's right. I think he's right. You're especially after watching the final code. Um, you can
Yeah.
bring the heat. You can bring the heat. That was a you and I talked about the movie yesterday before we're doing our pre-show, and that is a very very heavy movie. And
Mm.
I knew wrote it. Not only did you star in it, but
Yeah, I
you
wrote
wrote the
it.
script.
Yes.
What drew you to that script? It's a heavy drama.
Yes, this is the drama is based on a true story, Josef Fritzl's story from Austria, which uh, abused his daughter, keeping her captive uh, in the basement, and he himself said that you where beware where your children are when they're missing, because maybe they can be hidden in your neighborhood. And as I have my two daughters, it seems so touching for me, because sometimes you have these dramas in your families, and maybe you're looking for your baby somewhere else. You're you're imagining other things, and maybe your baby is right next to your door.
Yeah, I mean, they say a lot of people that are kidnapped are they never leave the city.
Yeah.
They're right there. They basically hide in plain sight.
Yeah.
They're right there. I mean, uh, I remember watching an episode of a TV show where this guy was going around, he's kidnapping young kids, and he went to he went to an amusement park. He took one kid, and in a matter of minutes, he went in there and he took the kid. He cut his hair off. He threw a hat on it. He threw some dye on it or a wig on the kid. I mean, he changed his whole look within 10 minutes, and he was gonna try to smuggle him out. And luckily they caught him. But it just shows you how fast. I mean, he wasn't like organized. He was just opportunistic. And yeah, it's we've had
you
that
know
here. We had a case like that here in Cleveland, where a gentleman had kidnapped women
yeah,
for
I
years.
know.
Years.
Yeah, I know. There has been a movie about Cleveland. I don't know how, the Cleveland Monster or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, I know the story, and I have also watched the movie. Very touching. Anyway, the idea is that um, sometimes we don't look for in the right place. It's also it was also unbelievable for me to see that the social workers were in direct contact for decades with him, and they never noticed anything.
Oh,
And another thing that was touching for me was in this story was that hope keeps us alive,
right.
because you're there. There is no resignation. You never want to believe that you will remain there.
No,
So
no. I mean,
it was interesting to understand also because I have read a lot about this case and I have seen all the documentaries about him and so on, just to understand. This was before I started writing, to understand the psychological part of him, because it's not that I want to excuse him, but violence recalls violence. He didn't have a nice past. Okay, so it was very interesting to understand this too.
yeah,
And
I actually
I
agree.
thought that it was touching. I needed a story to write, because I cannot stop writing or shooting. I cannot see a year passing and doing nothing. And I really needed. I was one evening. I was with my elder daughter, which is very similar to me. And I was looking her like I was very sensible, emotional that evening, and I told her, "What would it be if me and you were kidnapped, you and me, and what would it be?" And then I was like, "Oh, it seems like Joseph Fritzl's story." And of course, she didn't act because my daughter doesn't like this work I have. But anyway, it was not easy to find the little girl. Did you like the little girl in the
Yeah,
movie?
yes, I did. I thought she was very talented, and she played.
She's Romanian. It was difficult to find the girl and Buck, the one who acted for the Josef Fritzl's part. It was difficult because we have had also some no's, because it's a dangerous. You said before, you said that it's quite easy for us to have this American actors, but it was not easy for Buck.
Wow, yeah,
It
it's a
was
hard
not
part.
easy.
It's one of the. It's actually.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask you. I'll mention something here. I want to catch up with the chat here because your chat is actually blowing up here. This is really cool
Oh,
because
I
yeah, this is
cannot
this.
see anything.
I will let you know what's some of the questions. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Oops. Let me go up. You wrote, produce, and act. Yeah. Okay. Here's one. You wrote, you produce, and you act. Which role do you like doing best?
Mm, I think that the one in Paradise Valley, because it was not that dramatic. It was, with different attitudes, and I had more fun. I enjoyed it on the set much more, because in the other ones they are usually very dramatic, and I don't really have fun, because every time that we have to repeat the scene, I cannot um, get out from my character. It's dangerous, because it's
So-
not easy to enter.
Right. So would you say your favorite part of being in this? I mean, what do you like doing as far as Iva goes? Do you like to act? Is your favorite part acting? Or
Okay. Okay.
is it screen acting
Acting,
or
writing, or producing. Yeah,
mm,
I get um acting.
acting?
Yeah,
Even
acting.
though
Yeah.
even though you're a very prolific writer, though you mentioned that to me
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah,
You love
but
to
but
write.
I didn't expect myself. Really, I didn't expect myself, because it was like, okay, I was always good on writing, even at school. But, and I always was creative, but I didn't expect myself to be awarded, you know. My first award was like, what? I I couldn't believe myself. And I know that it's not a very good writing, you know, because first of all, I write in a foreign language. I don't write in my native language. So this one is not a very good thing. And secondary, um, you know, I took it just like a hobby, you know. Okay, I'm not acting this period. Let's just try to write something. And sometimes, you know, I think maybe if I go on with this writing, maybe I'll be better than an actress.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the final code, and it's like it's not only a great acting role for you. You knocked out of the park as Sharon,
I
but
didn't want to act that role. I didn't want to play it.
you know what, was it because it was so dark? Because I asked the actors that. I asked them, is there anything that you won't do acting wise? Is there any roles that you won't do as far as acting? And some say no. Some say they would. I mean, they would have no problem at all walking in and doing Joseph. But I think there's a lot of out there that would actually come into that role and say, you know what? No, that's a little too dark for me. It's a little too heavy. So I think
No,
there's
it was not this. The reason was it was not this one, because if I write it, I can also play it. But it was a problem, like, you know, me, Chip Chuipka is a blonde type, and the little girl was the blonde, and I am like
oh
Muslim, you know.
yeah, but you know
And
what, people.
I couldn't. I'm a perfectionist, and I told Carlo, I cannot see myself in this movie with this formula. Okay, I cannot I cannot see from the outside. If I watch this image, I cannot believe that that Ieva Lykos is Chipka's daughter. But he
You
said,
know what?
"Oh, you're thinking too much." And I didn't want, and I have started searching for an actress to play Sharon, and he told me that if you don't play it, I will not direct it.
I
So
think yeah, I get what you're saying because of the girl plays blonde and but you know what? I think people are no one's gonna notice that because the story's so good, the acting's so good. No one's gonna sit there and say, "Well, why does Joseph have dark hair and Sharon has dark hair, but the little girl has blonde hair?" No one's gonna sit there and say that. I mean, all they're gonna do is just they're gonna like, are they gonna get out? Who is this guy? Why is he doing
uh,
this? And will they survive? I mean, that's the only thing I saw when I saw the movie. I
I'm
didn't
very
even.
happy. I'm very happy to hear that. And maybe the 41 best best film awards maybe were deserved. And I think that the people, yeah, they don't look about these details. And the truth is that I have a blonde daughter. And it's not a rule, but you know, I wanted this movie to be perfect because I was very concerned about the production and about the script in this story. I wanted this to be perfect, and I couldn't see myself even as voice, you know, like I smoke and I have a smoker voice. What does Elizabeth or Sharon okay, so these are things that I think you know me from a long time, so you know that I think too much sometimes.
Um, yeah,
I
again, it's like, see, no one would understand that. I mean, there could be many reasons why you would have a huskier voice down there. I mean, It could have been because maybe you were screaming.
Yeah, maybe pneumonia.
Right. You could have been screaming for a long time because Sharon was down in that basement for years. I'm sure there would be many times
Yeah,
in captivity that she would yell and
maybe.
scream, and that would probably damage her vocal.
Yelling,
Right.
yelling helped me.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
but
no, it's
you know, Carlo is not like this. I always think about everything, any detail, and I really didn't want to do this part. I didn't want to play it, and it was like, oh no. And then the final negotiation. If okay, if you don't play it, I will not direct it. Period. Okay.
I love
So,
Carlo. You know what? I have to interview Carlo one of these days. I like Carlo
yeah,
so much. I really do. He's my kind of guy. Yeah, I'm with him. I think that's so sweet. If you don't do this role that you wrote, that you will own, that you'll dominate, then I'm not going to direct it. But let me ask you a question,
yeah,
though. Let
because
me
he
ask you
said.
a question.
Mm.
What's it like being directed by your husband? I mean, you're a producer, you're a writer, and he's a director. What was that dynamic like?
No, the dynamic is that I'm an actress and he is the director. And with the production problems, I have to tell him, I watch him in his eyes and I say, okay, now talking like producer. Okay, so are you connecting? Okay, this is the here is the problem and there is a problem, and he can. But I don't like to have this part when I'm acting, so all the problems, if they can be um, if they can be participated, I would prefer. And that is why usually I finish shooting and I go into my room and I see all the details for the next day, not only acting, all the things that the staff has to do, so that it can go everything perfect. But even Carlo has so much experience in producing movies. He had to produce all his movies just from the first one since he was a young guy. And he's very different. We are very different, even when we're talking about producing. But I like to respect his role. His role is very important. His vision is important. So it's a little bit difficult when we're talking about visions. My vision when I was writing and his vision when he's shooting. So this we have to argue a little bit,
Of course,
but it's okay. Yeah, it's because it destroys your vision. Sometimes, what the hell, when I was writing I was thinking about this and that. And he doesn't like this. He never wanted, when he shot the other movies in the past without me, he didn't have the script writer with him. He didn't want to.
oh, I
Yeah, but with
wow.
me he has to have this relation. It's not easy. But usually I let him do the way he wants to do.
As
I
long as he
I
doesn't, as
I, I
long as he
don't.
doesn't, as long as he doesn't change the script too much, though, right? I mean, you got to stay.
Yeah,
Right? Okay, I could
but
dig that.
sometimes, sometimes he changes something and it's better. Sometimes it can happen.
Right. Um. Angie mentions this. It says, "Don't worry about. Don't worry about. Don't know what that is. The part. A good actress transforms the audience, and we see the character, not the actress. Yeah, that's true. When we watch a movie, we don't really see the. I think if you watch a movie and you see the actor or the actress, if that's
Yeah,
what
you don't see the
yeah,
other.
you
Yeah, but
lost.
I was not. but I was not sure that I will act well because writing is not the same thing with acting. So, as I told you before, I am not sure. Every time I have to play a role, I am not sure. So, I doubt myself, and I told myself, let's just consider that I will not play it right. People will see all these flaws, so it will be a disaster.
You know what? I think it's rather really refreshing that you come out and say this, because I think a lot of actors actually probably feel the same way that you do, but I don't think they ever will give voice to that fear. And it's being honest. You're just being honest. And I really respect that. Like, yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy, and I'm sure a lot of performers are filled with self doubt. Like, um, but I mean, I know that you mentioned that you don't like watching yourself on the screen, but
No.
luckily for us, we all do. So we could watch your work and actually come there and tell you, as by the awards of telling you the award. I mean, you won, even you won 6 awards. You were nominated for 10. And you won 6. That should tell you that you are doing something right. You are a good actress, uh, uh, and enough to win awards. There's a lot of people who have never won any awards. You have to be really strong. You have to be a strong performer for that. Um, but I mean, it must be weird
It's
though. Like your husband's directing you, and you, like you said, you have that little creativity tussle, and I think that's healthy.
yeah. I would like to work with other directors, but it's as I told you yesterday, I stay too much home. I don't I don't go so much to festivals and stuff like this. Maybe I should, but I'm a very family type. So I told Carlo one day, with all due respect, but I don't want to be Roberto Benini's wife because he always has his wife in his movies, and she is now quite old, and she only shot with her husband, and I don't know.
Oh, right. Well,
And there is also competition between directors. So it's a little bit difficult for a director to call me because I'm Carlo Fusco's wife.
right. I get that. But
But maybe I think in America it doesn't work like this. Here they have an Italian mentality, like South Italy man. Maybe you should forget about calling her.
have you worked for have you worked for another
I don't
director?
know.
Have you worked for another
Before
director?
Carlo, before Carlo.
Yeah, yes. So, but so you haven't worked with anybody else since you've been married?
No.
Well,
And
what though?
Carlo tells me, what do you care about? We have our projects. We have fun with our projects. People like our projects. We are sometimes awarded. We go to the festivals. What do you care about it? We're doing what we like. But I would like to be directed by somebody else.
Yeah, I think so too. I
Yes,
do. I do
I
think
miss
though.
it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, and there's a lot of directors basically with their well, there's a lot of directors. They have their own stock companies. They feel like, I'm sure Carl's likes working with you because he trusts you. First and foremost,
Yes, a
that's the
lot.
reason why he cast you. It's not because you're his wife. It's because he trusts you as a performer. And a lot of directors do this.
Yes.
They get their own little core group of actors, and that's the only ones they use. John Ford had 100 actors in his Rolodex. He had 100 actors, and every movie that he did or project he did, he would call only those people within that little
Yeah.
circle. Um,
Just like Tarantino with Michael Madsen, he will never quit Michael Madsen.
right, Tarantino, yes, right, exactly.
Yes,
Tarantino's very
always,
much like that.
always.
He uses
Michael
the same.
Madsen.
Yep, he uses the same core actors. If you look at Tarantino, yep, you're absolutely right. Um,
Yeah,
and because he trusts them, he trusts them to get his voice on the screen, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, you become as a moviegoer, whenever you see a Carlos, Fusco film, you know what you're going to be getting. You know you're going to be getting quality entertainers, that good actors that can, going to bring in a good entertaining movie, and now you feel comfortable in sitting and watching that film. How I look at it. I look at, like, when I watched the Final Code last night. I felt comfortable because, well, I felt comfortable because I knew the actors were good. I felt uncomfortable because it was a very uncomfortable story, but that's the way it should be. Um,
yeah. It was very difficult to write that movie because it's not easy to write with only three, maximum five actors. All the movies, almost with the scenes are with two or three actors, is very difficult to keep it alive. To keep the interest of the public, and it was also very difficult to direct it and to act it.
how big is the film industry in Italy, though, Iva? I mean, is it a big industry? Is there a lot of work? Is there a lot of movies and TV projects being made?
We cannot really talk about independent movies in Italy. There are such a few, and so many they don't have distribution. It's not like in America. Usually, good movies, are being financed by national or European funds, and it's always the same names of directors and the same names of actors. It's like they have a life agreement. But this is not only in Italy. Unfortunately, people here do not believe much in independent movies. And to have an independent movie which is distributed maybe on theatrical too, it's a very, very good thing. You have to be lucky.
Yeah,
It's not even easy to find investors. It's
I,
not easy to find investors because they don't get the idea of incomes, of how this industry works.
is there a lot of theaters in Rome? I mean, you live south of Rome. Is there a lot of theaters in Rome? Is there like a, is there live theater? Are there live theaters in Rome that people can go to? I mean, basically, are there? To me, I've talked to several people, and it's like they mentioned how their industry is so small. And is it because there's nobody acting, or is it because that, just like you said, there's no one's making any money off of it? I mean, no
First
one's.
of all, they watch so much cracked movies. They really, they watch so much cracked movies. They don't even think about going to the theater and see well, only blockbusters. They go to the cinema and to watch the blockbusters. No, and now that I remember, during the pandemia, there was a very nice and historical cinema in Rome, which I loved and everybody loved it. And he closed for crisis, but not for the pandemic. The problem was right before. People don't go. They want now. There are these huge theatricals with that they only have blockbusters. American blockbusters. So this is what works, or maybe Italian ones, but it has to be comedy. Italians love comedy. This is it. They don't want to see dramas. They're dramatic for themselves at home. They don't want to get out and cry or think about serious problems.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah,
ask you. I was going to ask you that because, I was going to ask you if they, do they prefer, because Rome has a, I mean, Italy has a rich history, cinematic history. I mean, there was several. I
yeah.
mean, it's fantastic to film in. I mean, Italy is
Yeah, but
fantastic to film.
it's not like this anymore. Can you tell me I happen to go
Right.
to Marché Ducan, the market, where is a very large market, or AFM, the American film market. You cannot, you will not see Italian movies that are being distributed all world. And this is because they don't have the quality that once had.
Yeah.
Usually, Italians were an example for Americans and for all the world.
Yeah.
Now everything is like they're not creative. I think it's my personal opinion. I think that they don't have ideas. It's like there's nothing that can bring you to the can keep you to in front of the screen. It's
It's
so
another.
generic, it's so repeated.
Yes. I mean, that's
And
another.
actors don't really play not good. They don't act good because first of all they attend these schools where diction is a must. And because in Italy they have so many dialects. There are like about 400 dialects or more.
Oh,
So
wow.
when they pass these schools, they have to learn how to speak the right Italian, because it's the way they want to shoot a movie. They don't want actors with different dialects, just like in America. You're Americans, you have so many accents, and you also have foreigners, and maybe you put Arnold Schwarzenegger and you think like it's cool. Here is not like this. I'm East Europe. I have problems with my accent. The only roles that they want to give me is like a stripper or cleaning house lady. What is this all about?
Is that in
I
Italy? I mean, is that in Italy that they want to typecast you like that?
before, I don't know now. I don't know now, but years ago was like this. If you were coming from East Europe, you had
Oh,
only this type of roles, and I
well,
never accepted. I've never accepted because it's not. First of all, I don't see in East Europe. First of all,
no,
and secondary, it can be a nice stripper role if we think about Pretty Woman.
right.
But it's the etiquette, no,
Well, you
the
don't have to
the
worry about
sem-
that. You don't have to worry about that anymore. I mean, you're gonna when if you
no,
go
no,
audition, if you go audition for any roles, they're gonna be top drawer. You know.
no. But now I don't have Italian language problems anymore. I can speak it well.
Now, is
It's
there
not.
a TV industry? Is there a TV industry in Italy? I mean, could you?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's much more than cinema in Italy. The TV, yeah. People watch much more TV than cinema. This goes without saying.
wow.
But I was
So
talking about actors, when you have to study diction, when you have to act and have to respect the diction, it goes without saying that you will lose something from your character,
right. I
because you
mean,
have to pay attention on the way you're saying it, you know?
right. I didn't have any
Yeah.
trouble following. I didn't have any trouble at all following Sharon. I mean, everything she said and she did was perfectly clear. It was crystal clear. Um, so you mentioned about comedy. I was just going to ask you that. I was going to ask you. I mean, you wrote this heavy ass movie. I mean, it's drama, and I'm like, why didn't you? I mean, have you thought about doing a romantic comedy? I mean, is that something that would be up your? Would you want to do that, or would you feel
You
more
told
comfortable?
you told me about the love story, isn't that right?
Yeah, yeah. You can write.
Yeah,
Can you do a Hallmark movie?
I think a love story. I'm very ironic and sarcastic, but I don't know if I could write. It's very difficult to do comedy, good comedy, and I'm very selective with comedies. Sometimes I want to watch a good comedy, I cannot find it because it's difficult for me to have a good laugh for any phrase. It's not easy to find the right phrase, the right dialogue, the right situation, you know so
Right.
it would be a very big challenge, but a love story, yes, of course, I could do it. But you know we usually, as we are independent, uh, we usually concentrate ourselves on what's selling best, because we have to consider also this. It's not that I have some stories which are in my um which are hidden in my, how you call it, I have a, in the closet, yeah, can I say it? And I have some storage which are written and left there because they wouldn't
Oh,
sell
a
much.
writer's chest. A
Yeah.
writer's chest. Yes.
So I also have to consider what what's working during a certain period, you know
Now, Do you ever find yourself? Do you ever find yourself writing?
for example, I cannot write. I didn't hear a
Uh,
word.
I was going to ask you. Do you ever sit down and write, and then you look at it, and then you go like you're mentioning a writer's chest? Do you ever just write something out and then like hit a wall, and then you pick it up and you go and you put it in your chest, and then you leave it alone, and 6 months later you'll go back and grab it and go back and look at it and start working on it again?
Yeah, yeah, of
I
course,
knew
many
I knew that.
times. Yeah,
I knew that.
yeah.
I knew. Yeah, yeah, I had a feeling. I think you love to write.
Yeah, I always loved to write, but it was not, I have this energy inside of me that it is not it is not brought out when I write, because I have to express myself, energy, I have to move to speak. And this thing doesn't happen when you're right. When you're right, you sit down and get fat, smoke, you drink coffee, and you don't sleep at night. It's a horrible lifestyle. When I write, I'm disgusted by myself, and
Well, I
I'm
think.
not the type that stays in. When I wrote the final code, I stayed in my room for 1 month and a half. Kids didn't see me, mommy, mommy. We're like this. Because during the day I was sleeping, and during the night, because there is so much silence, I'm being more creative when I don't hear noises and so on, and I write during the night. But it's not a nice lifestyle. You have to be an hermit to
Right.
love it.
No, I agree with that. I mean that's actually how you and I were. You and I got to be friends. Is that you and I would be at late at night talking, and I do mean we'd be up for hours, and just go back and forth and just talk. And We both suffer from insomnia. Um,
Yeah. But when
so
you
I
write, you I like to talk, but when you write, you don't talk. You think.
no,
You
no.
think.
Yeah, I tend to when I write, I tend to shut everything down, and then I'll put music on in the background, and then I'll just that's it. And that's where I'm at. I don't answer any messages. I don't answer my phone. I just tend to write.
Yeah.
Um,
It,
uh, and yeah, so I get the process. Your process is that you like to write at night, and I think a lot of screenwriters probably have the same lifestyle. I'm sure they drink too much coffee and smoke too many cigarettes, and and maybe have too many bad piece slices of pizza. But it's whatever it takes in order to get the script done. I mean, once you polished it up, you must have some sense of pride in the work that you've done, right?
yeah, I think I'm prouder with this script writing that with my acting.
I was going to
Even,
say that when Angie asked you earlier about whether you like producing, your acting, and your writing, I think you like acting and you're good at it. You're very good at it. You're very good at that. But I always sense that you love to write because whenever you start talking about writing, you can hear it in your voice that it's so much more joy for you. But do you write to like
yes, because it's more difficult. Because it's more difficult. It's not easy to write, to be good on writing. But I don't think that I'm good. I have been appreciated, but it's not like I have won an Academy Awards now,
uh,
But anyway, I was much prouder when I got an award for the script rather than for acting, and I
yeah.
have worked so much um, to learn acting. I have I have done like 7 years of studying Stanislavski and things like this, and I've started from the very beginning, like doing so much stuff in theaters without being paid and so on. It was a very tough um, a roadway, but writing was like, okay, from now on, I'll start writing, put some words there. I have never studied to write.
Oh no. Yeah,
Okay,
neither
so
did I.
my experience is because I have read a lot of scripts, but I have never studied it.
Um, Angie mentioned that she's writing as a way of expression. Also, yeah, it is definitely. It's just a way to express yourself. Um, you hit it right on the button. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just. Do you like when you sit down? Are you just you're full of energy? Are you not? And then do you find yourself as you write, as you put the words on the paper, that that you become more relaxed and more at peace because now you're getting everything out onto the paper? Does that help you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it helps me, and I can understand that it helps me a lot, and it's very positive for me because when I check out the time, the clock. I, I I see that it passed like 2 or 3 hours and I didn't stop. And I say, I cannot believe myself. I have written for 3 hours and I thought it was 10 minutes.
yeah,
It happens this. But you have to have your ideas very clear before starting,
exactly. How do you mix motherhood with being an artist, with being a working actor? I mean, how does that work out? I mean, you're a mom, you have two children, and yet you're a producer, a screenwriter, an actress. How do you work? How do you make that work? I mean,
Yeah, it's a two-way answer, because on a part they inspire me, and on the other part they block me. They are an obstacle because, for example, I could do so many other things like acting again, and getting back to the theater, but with two kids is not easy. And on the other part, they are inspiring me in everything. It's when I write, it's difficult, and I told you why, because I like I'm a zombie in the morning when I have to wake up and prepare them for the school. But sometimes Carlo helps me when he's at home. If not, I prepare everything, I go to school, and then I get back and go to the bed directly.
Right.
And this is one, but they inspire me because, for example, the final code, you have seen the relationship between a mom and a daughter. In the slider, you have seen the relationship, no, you have seen a mother that loses her child. Okay, so um, it's helpful for me, and it makes me they make me happy anyway. It's my
How old are your children?
the elder one is 15, the other one is 5. 10 years I got a pause, and then I restarted. Yeah, it was not a very nice idea.
So
But
you got one, and your daughter, your oldest one, does not like the movie making business.
no, not at all. No, she quite hates it. No, she doesn't like it.
That
And
seems to
everybody,
be.
she has friends, and here in Italy. Oh my God, I have seen your mom on Prime Video. Oh, so cool. And they, sometimes there are some newspaper articles, and so cool. I would love to have a mom like this. And she was, no, no. I don't find anything useful. Until she was 10, I was I was writing some stuff, and until she was 10, she came from school. Mom, what work are you doing? And I'm an actress and a scriptwriter. Okay, actress, yes, but another work, a scriptwriter. No, this is not a job. She-
Oh, it's a job. It's a job.
yeah, it's a
People get
job.
paid a
It's a
lot of
job.
money to write.
Yeah, yeah. I've done okay with my work in script writing, I have to say. Yes, I'm very happy. And now she understands that those money that she gets when she goes out are from my
Yeah,
script writing.
yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
When mom comes out work as a zombie, you're benefiting from it. Uh,
yeah. Now she's okay with her age. She understands things, but first, it was very difficult to explain her because everybody had their moms, which were a doctor, and I don't know, any kind of job, something material. You can go and do the hairdresser or so on. I was because sometimes I'm lying in my bed, and also with the with the lady that helps me with the house cleaning. I say, okay, please, I need some help here and there. I go to work, and I go lay down in my bed with the computer in front of me. And if she's new, she's like, is she working?
yeah, that's how it works. Screenwriters, that's what we're doing.
And I really feel embarrassed, and I tell her, I am a script writer, so this is my job. I lay down in my bed and I write. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, it's not easy. So how do you
No,
I mean, when you do your writing, when you're writing your scripts, I ask a lot of script writers this, but let me ask you the same question. When you're writing a movie or a script, are you writing with a particular actor in mind? Like, like I would like to have, Michael Madsen play this role. When you write, do you think like that? would you how would this movie be cast?
Um, Sometimes yes and sometimes no, because there are characters that fit very well, and I can understand it immediately that that character can be played by, let's say, for example, Michael Madsen, and there are some others that I don't have any idea. I only have it in my mind, and so therefore we have to find somebody, but usually Carlo doesn't want me to suggest.
Oh,
So I tell him, I tell him that I I thought about that actor when I was writing, but he, yes, sometimes he agrees with me, but he does, he really likes to choose his actors.
so
It's
he likes to, so he likes to cast the roles that. Well, I can understand that, director or whatnot, but I always thought a screenwriter when they're writing it, because a lot of times they'll sit there and they'll write with a particular actor in mind, and then if they do get optioned out to make a movie, sometimes they get lucky enough to actually get that actor they envisioned, and it seems to help the movie out quite a bit. Um, I want to talk about Sharon real quick before I let you go, but I want to talk a little bit about Sharon in the final code. Um, how hard was it for you to prepare for that role, and how did you prepare for it? I mean, that's a really it's a you're gonna I
it,
mean, it's an intense role.
yes, it really was not that difficult, as it would have been for another actress, because I have wrote it, so I have written it. So let's just say that I didn't have the necessity to go and find out more about the character. I was one step ahead, with this, because usually when I study, when I'm preparing myself for a role, I study a lot about that. If it's especially if it's a real story, or if it's inspired from a real story. With Sharon, it was difficult because it was a part of my life that I wanted to see the light. I had um, some years of depression, and that was the moment when I wanted to start living. To start seeing things positively. And it was not nice because I had to get back into my depression um, state, and so let's just say that it was not funny. I had I have to say that I didn't see the pain that much when I have written it, but I have seen it when I have acted it, because really that place was created for the film, and that place was in a garage.
Yeah,
Okay.
the room itself
And
was
it really was
all.
overwhelming to act there, because and every time I had to enter into her part, into her character, I said it's terrible, even to act here, you know and it was terrible to stay. The film was shot in 3 weeks. It was terrible to stay there every day 3 weeks. Can you imagine 24
Oh,
years
yeah. I would just
without never getting out from there? It's terrible.
yeah, it would drive you insane. I think it would
E-
drive you nuts.
yes, yes. It was really difficult to the conditions to act that movie. And as I said, I didn't have to prepare myself as if from zero, but I had to recall my depression state, and it was not easy.
Yeah, it could be dangerous, a role like that. It definitely could be dangerous to an artist, because the that's such a dark place to go to. And like I said before, in the beginning of our conversation, I do believe there's some actors that would. I mean, there's probably even actresses that would have looked at part of Sharon and going like, "Nope, nope, we're not going to go there." It's like it's such a harsh place to go to, and it's like to be able to do that role and be able to come out of it without losing yourself into it. That's a really hard role. Like, I've read interviews with Liam Neeson when he did
Mhm.
Schindler's. When
Yeah.
he did Schindler's, he just said that it's so fundamentally changed him. He was a changed human being after he did that. He went as he saw the movie as an acting job. He did it as a job. But once he got in there and got really saw what the movie was about and how it's intense it was, at the end of the movie, he was changed. It
Yeah.
changed him. And I could see a role like Sharon, how it can change you. I mean,
Yeah,
the
it's changed me with my kids because the thing that mostly helped me in this role was having kids, because I had a very nice father, like a very gentle father. And I couldn't imagine, yes, imagine, but you don't have a bad experience with your father, so I couldn't recall something like this. But I was being helped a lot about the idea of having my kid in that state. I was being helped a lot about the fact that I had to think about my kids that could be in that situation. And what happened, it happened that um I don't know, I'm a very uh, gentle mom and protective, but I have been more protective with them. Like when I saw them, I was very happy to have them,
right. I
and
can see that. I mean, it's one of those
it's
movies.
it's it's changed this, but I cannot say that it's changed because I'm protective, but I was like grateful to have them. And every time, that I see them, thanks God you're here. Thanks God nothing happened to you, and I hope I'll pay attention and stuff like this.
Yeah, we always seem to. Yeah, it's interesting. I think once having kids like that, though it goes the other way too. I mean, there's some people that really do appreciate the fact they have kids. You watch a movie like this, and yeah, you definitely come out of it like, not if even if you don't have any kids. Like I personally don't have any children of my own, but it just makes me a lot more aware of when I watch, kids on there. Like, if I see a stranger walk up to a kid, I'm not just not paying attention. Now, in the corner of my eye, I'm watching that because, and I want to make sure that, nobody gets snatched up. A movie like this will change how you look at society. The final
Yeah,
code will change how you look at the way people are. Um, yeah, it's a really well done, very well written movie. And you were right about the happy ending. You and I were talking about the happy endings yesterday, and you're absolutely right. I mean, yeah, there's no happy ending. I mean, there's just, I mean, it just wasn't. I mean, the damage. I mean, you consider the damage done. There wasn't gonna. You're not gonna get out from underneath that. I mean, Sharon's life was absolutely. Yes, she spoiler alert, she lives, but at what cost? I mean, you imagine how many years of therapy she's going to have to go underneath. I mean, it's just thinking about what she would have to face in life is just overwhelming.
Yeah.
Um, Let me ask you real quick. What's next for you? This is our this will be our last question for you. But what's
Well,
next for you?
actually I have two projects. One is a feature film, and the other one is a TV series. The feature films, it's about addiction, and the TV series is a different type, which I think you might like. Is It's called Mama Santissima, and it's about Ndrangheta, the new mafia, the new.
Oh,
And it's for this time, about there were so many mob movies, but they never speak about Ndrangheta, which is now it's 2 decades that is the toughest in the world, but nobody knows their secrets because they are much more than Cosa Nostra. More more silence, more fear to talk about it. And I have studied a lot about Ndrangheta, and I told myself that I want to write a TV series about Ndrangheta, and this time the boss is a woman.
oh, okay,
Yes, but it's not that she wanted, it's because of some circumstances.
okay,
And I really enjoy to write that one, really. And it's not drama. Nobody, people lose in mafia. People lose and people win. It's like this. It's life. But
right.
I really enjoy even thinking about it.
I always
Yeah.
wish they would make one movie here in the States. I don't think they really ever have. But there's one mobster I wish they would actually do a really good movie about, and that would be Lucky Luciano.
Lucky Luciano. Yeah, I had it. I directed a documentary. You can watch it on Prime Video too. It is distributed by Adler and Associates from Hollywood, and but it's shot in Italian. You have subtitles in American. And if you're interested about mafia, I have created this documentary about the bandit Giuliano, the biggest bandit of Italy ever.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
I definitely like to do that. I'd like to take a look at that. Uh, I'm so glad.
yeah.
I'm so glad.
If you have the patience to,
Oh, I have the patience. I have nothing but time. I have nothing but time. I want to say hi to our friend Diana. Diana's here. She says, "Finally, great to
hi,
catch you
Diana.
live." Yeah, Diana. It's artfully blind with Diana, and Diana is a sight impaired young artist. She's absolutely freaking amazing, Eva. I mean, her talent is off the chain. Um, just a super. I mean, I really like watching her channel. Um, and so she's actually going to come sit in with me next month. I'm going to interview her at the end of October. I'll send you the link when I go live.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can come watch.
yeah.
Um, wow, what can I say? I just want to say thank you so much. I had such a pleasure talking to you. Um, I was so excited to do this because it's one of those things where it's like I actually get to see you after talking to you for 2 years. This is our first time, other than the pre-show, talking face to face, and I'm just so honored to be able to talk to you, and so grateful that you gave me the chance to interview you. Um, Next time, though, I want to interview you and
No,
Carla together. I'd love
yeah.
to
He's
do.
not very. He doesn't speak English very well. He doesn't speak English very well.
Well,
But if you're okay with his English,
I'm sure I can manage. I'm sure.
sometimes he doesn't understand. Maybe he should have a translator.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe you could translate for us. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I
I like that.
usually do it, you know.
Um,
He
are,
should
are
he
you?
shoots he shoots movies in English, but he doesn't speak it very well.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. Are
He's
you?
crazy. He's crazy.
You would you speak four languages? Are your dot? Do your dot? Do your kids speak multiple languages as well?
No, only Italian.
Oh,
They
only
don't
Italian.
want. They are fond of it, Italy. They don't want. I should have lived in America for a long time. I'm in Italy because of them.
Oh, if you could, okay, if you could live somewhere, where would you want to live?
Los Angeles. It's not
Oh,
that I like it, but it's for work.
right.
If I could choose, maybe I would say New York.
Yeah,
I
New York, New York.
Yeah, New York. I like it. I like it much more as a city, and but I need to go to Los Angeles. People calls us. Why don't you come here? Everything you do is always connected with with America. Why don't you come and live here? It would be much easier, but
A lot more expensive.
we wait a little bit for the kids to grow up, just
Mhm.
some years, and we'll move to America.
Okay. Well, I hope that America is everything that you think it is.
No, it's not. It's Carlo that thinks it's much. I don't. I think everywhere is the same. I
yeah, we
and sometimes I'm afraid because I tell Carlo, maybe you are, because he believes in the American dream. But I tell him, because I love Italy, and I tell him, maybe we are lucky to do this movies because we are in Europe.
yes.
Maybe if we were a company production in Los Angeles, maybe Tom Sizemore wouldn't come. You
I don't
know?
know about that. I don't know. I don't know. I like to think that artists are drawn to to scripts. Um, like
Yeah,
someone like
scripts
they're drawn
and
to
director's CV.
right. Yeah. I mean, I don't. I think that's part
They
of
want to see script and the director.
yeah. And I think that's really what it is.
Do
It
you
isn't.
think so? Do you think
Yeah.
so?
Yeah. I do. I think someone like a Tom Sizemore or Daryl Hannah or Bruce Davison, I think they're less driven by money, because a lot of younger stars, it's how it is because they're just starting out. So I understand that, but I think the older actors are more driven by the script and by the like you said by the director. And if it's something they want to do, they'll do it. They could actually take their time to do something that they want to do. They're not really driven to it because they have to do it. They driven to it because they want to do it. And I think and it shows up on their work. If
Yeah.
you watch them work on the camera on the screen, you could see an actor who's just there for the money. You can see that. I've seen plenty of actors, that they're what we call cash in a paycheck. They're just there for the check. They're there, they do their part, and then they leave. They're not really into the film. They're not really into the project. They don't have, there's nothing vested in it. Maybe because it's the script is so stupid, maybe because it's too much CGI. Um, any number of reasons, but I think experienced actors look for they look for a good script. They look for something fun that they're going to enjoy to doing. It's funny because I actually talked about that
Yeah.
with a director, and I said because you got to work with Eric Roberts, and I asked this
Yeah.
director, I said, I know he's not doing it for the money. I know that because Eric Roberts probably has more money than God with all the money, with all the jobs he's done. But why does he do everything? And my director friend says he does it because he wants to work. He loves the work. It doesn't matter what it is. He just
Yes.
wants to work.
This is true.
I mean, how could you not
And
respect?
you know, for an actor is important to be close to the public. You know, they want to be loved and they want to be appreciated. So Eric is like this. He couldn't live without this, without working. You know, he could. But I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the spiritual, spiritual stuff. You know, the thing that a public gives you.
Right.
And it's important. It's like a drug for an actor, you know. They need love and they need appreciation.
I get that.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go because I know it's getting to be
Okay.
close to
Thank
9:30.
you. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I want to thank you for this my first American interview.
You are most
And
welcome.
I'm really grateful for the people that will watch this interview, and for the in this moment I cannot see how many viewers there are, but I think that there will be some in the future. And thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Yes, thank you
Ciao
so much.
from Italia.
I'd like to thank everybody else in the chat who came out to support us today. I totally am grateful. We might be back here tonight at 8 o'clock if my friend Chris is here. My friend Chris is supposed to be doing another interview with me, but I'm not 100% sure. But tomorrow night we will definitely be back with Christy Adams from Nightmare Toys, and that is going to be a really fun interview as well. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thanks for Roy and Becky for doing a raid. I had never had anybody do a raid for me, other than Tuber Chat. So I'm totally grateful for that. That's cool. Thank you so much. And we will see you for the next one. Peace. I can't get out of here.